Alright, y'all. Welcome back. We are here with a new guest, our good friend from high school, Xavier Johnson.
Yes, sir. My man X. Yes, sir. What's going on, brother? Appreciate the time, man.
Yeah, appreciate you for the invite.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you been, bro? Like, what's the news, bro? How the season go? How everything went?
The season for me this year, it was really up and down. You know, I started off with Memphis, and I was playing a little bit here and there, but I was playing more of my minutes with them. You know, I got a chance to play 30 minutes with them, and then I got hurt for about 2 weeks. And how the G League goes is, you know, if you hurt, they're gonna send your ass away and go somewhere else. So I ended up going to Portland. You know, I had a bone bruise for about almost 2 months, and I still got it to this day. So you know, for the off season for me is just me relaxing. But I had a bone bruise. Went to Portland for about a week. Got waived. Then I ended up going to Skyforce to finish the season out with them for about 2 months. Season for me though, I would say I wouldn't say it was one of my best seasons. Probably one of my worst, honestly. Probably worse than my sophomore year of high school. It's the only time I really sat on the bench, but. It's really been up and down though. You know, I think my first year I just taken it as a learning experience. And, you know, just try to move forward and learn from it.
Yeah, for sure. Because you know, especially like playing pro. You know, I feel like, you know, it's obviously I didn't play pro, but like I feel like it's a lot different. You know, everybody expect everything to be like this Cinderella story, like LeBron. You just walk in and everybody love you and all this shit. But you know, people go through different things, especially going pro with money involved. So, but you mentioned high school, so let's start there. Let's start. Talk to us about like your basketball journey, starting off in high school, and you know, how did your journey go, specifically through your freshman through senior year? Did it go how you planned for it to go, and you know, things like that?
You know, it wasn't really no expectations or really what I really wanted to do in high school. But you know, everybody knew I wanted to hoop, but. When I first came to O'Connell, I think for my freshman year I played JV. Had a good season. You know, came back. Kept going to school at O'Connell, and came back for my sophomore year. But before my sophomore year, you have end of the year meetings with Coach Joe Wooten, the head coach of the varsity team, and I had a meeting with him. Basically, him telling me I wasn't gonna make varsity. You know, I really didn't really accept that well, but you know, I'm the type of kid, you know, to get everything out the mud. Nothing was really given to me. Came back my sophomore year, cooking everybody, just taking everything to heart. Every chance I got to play against the varsity players, you know, I got to put on the show and improve. So you know, to them and Coach Moving that, you know, I'm ready to make an impact, and you know, I'm actually a good player, and I feel like I can play with the best of them.
Definitely, for sure, and that's, you know, especially like today's day and age. Players ain't doing that. Yeah. Like, not at all. What? Like, it's
don't even go outside.
Staying down. It's freshmen coming in. Like, if I'm not starting on varsity my freshman year, I feel like I wasted my year. Like, they gotta go.
They transfer.
You know what I'm saying?
Nah, a lot of dudes leave though. A lot of dudes leave.
Definitely.
A lot of dudes run from the grind. That's what I really call it. Just running from the grind. They don't want to something. You know, just the coach don't really mess with them, or you know, they really don't want to take what's up for grabs. Like they think everything's just really supposed to be handed to them.
Yeah, for sure. So you decided to stick it out. You played your sophomore year at O'Connell, and then your junior year came up. So how did things like drastically change for you once you hit your junior season?
You know, even though I made varsity my second year, my sophomore year, you know, I still wasn't even playing a lot. You know, I think I started like one or two games. I think one game at the beginning of the year when Aiko was hurt. Then I think I started probably the last two games of the year. Yeah. And you know, I think the last game of the year had really helped me. You know, I think really set myself up for success. You know, I think who was at the game was I think as you guys know, Team Takeover. One of the coaches was at the game, and you know, they weren't even looking at me. I think when we were playing one of the other guys, Armando Baycott, because he was playing for Takeover. That's one of my guys, and I had put on a show in front of him, and he invited me out to play for the team, and ended up being on the team with them, and then that's how I think that's really how my basketball journey started. Going to college, and then going into my junior year, playing with them during the summer, and then picking up offers left and right. I think, and then going to my senior year, a lot of dudes didn't really look at me as like, I was one of the best in the area, but that's something I still had to prove to myself and to everybody else. But I had the respect from everybody around the area though. Everybody knew who I was, but they really didn't believe I was held up to a higher expectation. Getting player of the year and all that things.
Yeah, definitely. I know definitely. Playing in the WCAC, you make a name for yourself early, and especially in the WCAC, like we're well known like around the whole entire country. So how does it feel in that league? Like your senior year, did you have a feeling early in that year like I'm not just playing for respect right now. I'm playing because I want the WCAC Player of the Year.
I mean, when I was playing with Takeover, it was my last year with Takeover. I think we were getting ready for the championship game. A lot of people know this, but some people don't for real. But we were having a conversation in the locker room before the game, and my teammates laughed at me. They were talking about after this, and because it was our last time actually really playing together for something and in front of college coaches too. So they were jokingly playing around, and I was like, I'm about to get Player of the Year in the WCAC, and everybody, all my teammates laughed at me. I had a lot of top guys in the area too on my team. Brandon Slater, Bryce Golden, Jalen Smith. It was a lot of guys. Hunter Dickinson was on my team. He was younger. Justin Moore. It was a lot of guys on my team that were really capable of getting an award, but. I think I worked my tail off that summer to get better and pass all of them that year to get that award. I was behind the scenes. I think, as y'all know, I was in the gym every day.
Hey, I was in there with you though. I was in there with you though. We was in there together though. You feel me? Nah, that's all right though, bro. So I know you talked about high school a lot, but talk about the college recruiting process and the visits and what made you choose your first destination to be in Pitt?
Well, originally, when I first committed, I was committed to Nebraska under Coach Kenyon. His name is Kenyon Hunter. He's a successful recruiter. He was at Georgetown. He has a really long resume of, getting guys out the area. And he was at Nebraska at the time, and I had committed to them. And then he had told me he was leaving. Like, I think I completed my whole senior year, got Player of the Year and everything. And I think I decommitted like right after the season ended, and everything else kind of reopened up. I really didn't know where I was going yet. Still, I didn't think any other schools would call me. Even still being Player of the Year, but I was really thinking about going to what is it called, the prep school route. I was thinking about doing another year of high school basically before I went to college, but Pitt actually called me before I had renegotiated with my dad about going to prep route. I think it was done to Pitt and Georgia Tech. Those were my last two schools, and I ended up going to visit out Pittsburgh. I think my dad really loved it before I did, and then I think it actually felt like home. Being 4 hours away. The coach, he played at Duke. It was a coach at Duke too. Coached a whole bunch of good players, and I said, my dream school of growing up was Duke. So playing for a Duke coach it really means the same thing for me.
Definitely.
He wanted me to come in, play point guard right away, be starting point guard. There was no expectation of me coming in though, but he wanted me to be a starting point guard, and that's the route I wanted to go. And it's hard to play in college for your first year. It really is.
I was gonna say, man, starting coming to the ACC, that's crazy. What was your thoughts going into the season, knowing that you would start, get those big minutes, and have to really lead a team?
I think at the time I would, that's something that I really wanted to do. I feel like I was one of the best people in the area. Coming out of high school. So I feel like playing in the WCAC really helped me.
Right.
Winning Player of the Year in that conference means it means a lot. I would say going into transitioning into college though. I wanted to do big things, and it's something that I worked my tail off my whole life like to do. And there was a lot of guys in my class that that were in the ACC: Zion Williamson, Cam Reddish, R.J. Barrett, Trey Jones,
crazy class.
Kobe White. It was a lot of guys. I feel like I could play with the best of them. Going to Pittsburgh, I feel like I had the opportunity, play and show out and do what I was supposed to do and do what I thought I was capable of doing, and I did.
And boy, did you.
No.
Boy, did you. We can talk about it for a second.
Let's talk about
33 games. 33 starts.
33
as a freshman.
33.
All ACC freshman team. With the names of Zion Williamson, Kobe White, Trey Jones, what's Little Ugly Cuz?
Little Ugly Cuz.
Big Little Ugly son.
R.J. Barrett.
And Xavier Johnson. So,
Man.
talk to us about that season. Talk to us about, how you gaining the players in the locker room's respect, and just, going throughout the season.
Going against those guys and those atmospheres as well.
Yeah, talk about all that. We want to hear about that first year.
My first year, just going against those guys, I feel like it meant a lot. And, those are games, I would really prepare myself to go against those guys, because I feel like those guys, were going to the league, and that's one of the places I still strive to this day. But I still feel like I can play with the best of them too. But playing against those guys my first year, I just wanted to knock their heads off. Kobe White, they were on the better teams and they were in the better programs. But I just felt like playing against those guys would really put something on a brand on my name, a different brand on my name. Because going against those guys, they got a lot of followers on Instagram, and they attract a lot of media attention. I feel like when they came to our games, a lot of scouts were at our games. I just felt like that was just a time to put on, because a lot of guys don't get the opportunity. You gotta just accept the opportunity and do something with it, and you have the chance. But playing in those atmospheres though, it's really 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 different. Like I played throughout my whole college career. There's a lot of fans, a lot of media, a lot of people gonna be on your back. And there's gonna be good days, and there's gonna be bad days. But you just gotta stay where your feet are, honestly.
Yeah, let's get to that. So, first question for me: what was it like your first game? What was the feeling like? How was your mindset? How was the crowd feeling for you?
The mindset in the crowd. When I first went to Pittsburgh, and I think it was like the summertime. Not even the summertime. Like the right before school start. This is really football season. Pitt basketball, used to be on top. When it was number one in the country, and until Kemba Walker made dude fall, and I think that was like downhill. But that was like
insert highlight.
I felt like a lot of guys didn't really respect us on campus, like the students wise. Like we'll try to go on parties. They trying to make dudes pay to get into a little house party. I'm like, y'all lost y'all mind. And mind you, my first year I really ain't never partied, and one of the reasons was because of that. I never really partied. I think y'all know that. Even in high school, I never really did anything else besides play basketball and go to the gym, which is really the recipe for success. Like a lot of these guys just forget that, and they get distracted a lot during that college. Because college is college, though. I will say that. I think a lot of y'all know that.
Yeah.
College is college.
For sure.
A lot of
Absolutely.
For sure.
Call females and all that thing. All that plays into the spectrum.
So before we get into the games and everything like that during the season, talk to the young guys a little bit and how they should approach just the day-to-day lifestyle of wanting to be in the league and chasing that D1 scholarship, the things they should do, the things they shouldn't do, just from your perspective.
From my perspective, just stay in the gym and just stay out of trouble. I feel like a lot of dudes don't know, but But I think but the FBI works with the NBA, so they're gonna find out everything about you before they give you $1 million. Like they're not about to just give a random dude $1 million, not knowing the background information and everything about them. Like they really look into it. Like it goes as far as back as high school. Like they look for everything. Like I had a teacher tell me so one of the teams had reached out. I don't want to say the team, but the team. But I think I'll say the team. It was the Sixers. 76ers. I reached out to one of my teachers asking about what are my characteristics, like how I was in class. If you want to go to the league, everything matters. Like you got to carry yourself like a pro every single day. Like, and I think one of the biggest things and best ways to do that is just stay in the gym and just stay out of that, and that'll help you stay out of trouble.
These girls don't love you, bro.
They don't.
Go work out.
They don't.
Go get in the gym, bro.
Everything that glitter ain't gold, but it might glitter though. It might glitter though. It might glitter. It might, but it ain't gold. It's not gold. It's not gold.
I mean, don't get me wrong though. You can have your fun, like in the league, like dudes have their fun. Like don't get me wrong. Like ain't nobody that pretty. That one dude that be in school and just do everything right. Like nah, like these dudes they do their things and they got their own ways of doing it. Like but just keep your head low and just stay out the way. Like that's the biggest thing. Like you just gotta stay out the way and that's one of the biggest things they look at. Like how do you carry yourself like through those times. Like
for sure. So your freshman year. So we're gonna move forward to moving on to your sophomore year. But your freshman year, obviously all ACC freshman team. You had about 7 or 8 games with 20 points or more.
Had 30 points.
Had a 30-point game versus Clemson. It's just something about O'Connell.
It's just O'Connell and Clemson
players versus Clemson.
It's just a correlation.
But you had 30 versus Clemson, where you went 100% from 3, 7 from 8 from the field.
He can't even shoot though.
Yeah, all right.
It's a little different. Hey, tell him it's a little different now.
He can't even shoot though.
Nobody can stand in front of you. When nobody can stand in front of you, why shoot it?
There it is. Okay, there it is.
Look,
speed racer. I like that. Speed racer.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. He was different with it. Gone.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie.
Gone.
Cause me and X was on the same team. Cause I hooped. Tell him I hooped.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie.
Tell him I hooped.
That shit was like, huh?
Hey, I was on that team.
What team?
Bro.
What team?
Bro was so sick he had to go against Nate Watson and everything.
Oh, you was on the team.
I was on the team. But look, so we used to have the run. We used to have to do like 10-1, 20-2.
I remember, but I played on JV. Can I get some respect?
We ain't playing JV.
Can I get some respect though?
JV realize like they really do everything varsity, dude.
That
like,
is true. I coached it now too.
I played for your dad, bro. I played for your dad, man.
But look, but nah. So
I hated that shit.
When we used to have to do sprints, when you did the 20 and 2,
2,
all that stuff. But if you don't make it in time, you gotta run again. But if you finish early, you can gift time to your teammate.
You could do that?
So when I came over from football, I used to never make the time.
I ain't never finished early. I ain't get that.
But look, X so fast though. X used to finish like 4 laps before me and gift me times.
I used to. I ain't gonna lie. I used to run them joints like I used to really run them joints. I don't know how, but I used to really run them. I used to hate doing them though, like before the games. Like I'm like, Coach Joe, like, come on, yo, like
game on a Thursday, we running a 20-2 on a Wednesday.
Man, bro, I used to be blown.
Yeah, nah,
I just used to do it. And once you start running, it's just like just run. Like
yeah.
I don't know how I used to do it for real.
Nah, bro used to gift me minutes so I ain't have to run at the end.
That's crazy. Nah, them 20-2 used to be had. What was the sideline? The sideline. What was that one?
That was
10-1s.
10-1s. Yeah, them Jones coming from football. The conditioning is not the same. The conditioning is not the same.
But that's why I ain't even play my junior year. I ain't want to do the running.
I ain't even make it.
I came from football. I was like, Coach Joe,
I ain't make it, bro. I tried out my freshman year. I ain't even make it. Them suicides.
Yeah, nah, them different.
See, my asthma ain't it ain't work out.
Bro, we all got asthma, bro. It's 2025.
Now you got asthma. Look, now you got asthma.
My asthma was messing up when I was doing them jumps.
Bro was wheezing. Nah, but look though.
Yeah. Nah, everybody used to be wheezing out there.
Nah, for sure.
I ain't gonna hold you. Everybody used to.
Hey,
sure.
X.
Especially coming off.
I ain't gonna lie though, they
football
lost a
season.
lot
Oh,
of
my
games.
God. I feel bad
Hey,
for
X,
y'all.
but you gotta remember, I was chubby.
lost a lot of
You
games,
remember, I was
Yeah,
chubby.
I already know.
I was chubby. Bro.
Hey, X, hold up though. I know you from Woodbridge, bro. Let's talk about it, bro. Being from the same city. You know what I'm saying? You from Woodbridge. It say on your bio, it say Woodbridge.
I had to accept Woodbridge because my parents lived there. I ain't from Woodbridge.
Bro ain't repping Woodbridge.
You not, bro. Woodbridge. So you don't claim Woodbridge gang.
I jack Woodbridge though. I jack because that's where my family live. They don't live there no more. They live in Stafford now, but
we good though.
Because they used to live there. That's where I went to school. I used to travel to go to school from in college.
X, ain't you from Florida?
I was born in Florida. I lived there. I lived in Florida.
That boy Floridian. Stop
That boy for the crib.
That boy Floridian.
Legit talk.
Nah, but we're gonna move on. We're gonna try to keep it on pace. We moving on to your sophomore year. We can move. Which year did you transfer? Right, we're gonna talk about right before that. Was that your junior year?
I transferred my junior year after it was the COVID year.
Okay, so let's talk about your sophomore and junior year right before COVID. How did those teams change? And how did those years go for you?
My sophomore year, coming off a freshman year like that, you got high expectations, and you getting looked. I was getting looked at from a lot of. I appeared on some draft boards, in the second round, early second round, and things of that nature. And with me going to my sophomore year, a lot of expectations was looked upon me, especially from the score above. And my with the team coming in, it was a brand new team. It was a better team, but it was a brand new team. And with some guys, when they come to a school like Pittsburgh, we haven't really won much. They try to come in and think it's their show, and so I had a lot of that, and it was just like. It was my sophomore year was really hard because I was a sophomore. I didn't really know how to really lead per se, as far as set the tone with dudes. But it was definitely a learning experience though. It was definitely a learning experience. But that whole year was good and it was bad. And I think my sophomore year though, I think we went to we did we took a foreign trip, and I think y'all know the little Nike Academy thing. I got invited to that.
Right.
But we had the foreign trip, and I asked my coach if I got invited. It was a last minute thing. I asked him if I got invited, and because my dad, he told me to ask because a lot of dudes that with my caliber and my resume already, they get invited to stuff like that. And especially you go to a Nike school, and Pittsburgh was a Nike school, and they still are. And I had got invited to it. I told my coach I had a decision to make, but I asked my coach what do you want me to do. And this for future players too. Do what's best for you. Honestly, if I would have went to that, it's more eyes for yourself. And it's building your future. It was guys in there. You got, I think all the NBA guys come back. LeBron. I think that was last year. Kobe before Kobe died. Rest in peace, Kobe. But I think that was last year. Kobe was there. I missed out on a great opportunity. Going to that. And just building myself up from there, and playing against the high caliber guys, I think that year was Obi Toppin. It was a lot of dudes there. I can't really name it, but it was a lot of dudes.
Definitely got you. So you said y'all got hit by the COVID bug like the whole world did. It was terrible.
Wow.
So after COVID, we talk about you had to make a decision.
COVID.
You made a decision that that you wanted to leave, and you ended up going to I'm drawing a blank. Indiana. Yes.
Indiana.
You end up leaving, going to Indiana.
Hoosiers.
Let's talk about
big basketball town, huh?
Yeah, it's a little different.
It's a big
little different. It's a little different than Pitt. So talk about that decision and why you made that decision to go to Indiana.
Playing in Indiana atmosphere, Indiana comes with its gift and its curse. I think one of our first couple of games, I was just heating up and I was just getting my feet wet with them. And trying to get used to the culture and just used to playing with Indiana. And for my first couple of games, I got booed. Really hurt. That type of shit hurt me to the core because, I've just never been booed before in my life. And, I asked my coach after the game, and he said, you know, you only get ability because you know you come with an expectation. You know, they see something different in you, which was kind of I took it, you know, a BS answer, but it was just like, you know, he was just trying to get me over the hump, and you know, there's just something that you just can't worry about as a basketball player because you know they can't dictate whether you play good or not. You dictate whether you what you're doing on the basketball floor. But you know, Indiana though as a whole, like it comes with a lot. You know, yeah, I think it's heavily compared to the Lakers organization. You know, because you know you gotta take a lot of criticism, and you know you got a lot of fans that look up to you and that expect a lot out of you. But you know, I would say I love Indiana, but it's really not for everybody.
Definitely got you for sure. So just, you know, in whole, you know, finishing your career in Indiana, you was with. How was it like playing under Mike Woodson and you know, playing for that group?
What it was like playing for Mike Woodson, it was fun. You know, he let me rock, let me do what I was supposed to do. I just think, you know, as time went on with my, I had a lot of injuries adding up to my last couple of years, and you know, a lot of things happened to be different. There weren't the expectations that he had for me and had for the team. I mean, he knew I was a really big vocal point for his tenure at IU. Nothing bigger than Trace. You know, he was the best player in the country, but you know, I was one of his best point guard. I would say, and you know, I felt like, you know, playing for him, you know, he really loves his players, really deep down loves his players, and do anything for them on and off the floor. He's a really loving guy. He takes everybody in his family. You know, he's a great guy. You know, I think he has I don't think he had a lot in the tank, you know, but I think he's still gonna be coaching, even though he resigned this past season.
Got you. That's real. That's real. Well, you know, now you pro. You know, you already talked about, you know, pro life a little bit. What's the next steps for you? What can? Sorry,
You straight?
my bad, bro.
You straight?
My bad, bro.
Really,
What's the next steps for you? You know,
What we on to,
you
man?
know, so for the following, you know, you know, you bounced around a couple different pro teams. What's your next, you know, the next goal that you want to hit?
You know, now that I got my feet wet, you know, and I'm in the system in the league. I'm part of the league, and you know, I think it's really important for me and my family. You know, I think it's a lot of money's going to be involved, of course. But my goal is, you know, to be on first is to get an E10, E10 the contract. E10 is a really nice, not really a big contract, but it's a good amount of money. He's still in the G League though, but it's a good amount of money to play in the G League. And then my next step is, you know, get a 2-way contract and then work my way up and convert that up into a regular contract. That's my main goal. Because you know, I want to make millions doing this basketball thing. Because I've been working my whole life to play the game of basketball.
Nah, bro. I just want to speak to that. Like, seeing you in high school and all the work you put in, man. It's good to see you doing this, bro, and I'm proud of you, bro. Like, real talk. Keep going, bro, and I'm watching all the way. You know what I mean? It's Woodbridge. Hold it down for Woodbridge.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Hold it down for the bridge, man.
And hopefully we got another Woodbridge pro hooper coming through.
You know what I'm saying?
That's as far as I go. I ain't going to say Woodbridge.
Nah, but that's what's up, bro.
Nah, we appreciate you, bro.
No, really appreciate you coming on the podcast, man.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all for the invite.
For sure. Thanks for keeping it real.
Podcast y'all got going.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you coming on here, keeping it real, man.
I knew once we hit you, I was like, you know, stand-up guy, he gonna make sure he take care of the fam. So I know you busy, man. You took some time out hang with the guys, so we really appreciate that, bro. And best of luck to you. And I know you about to do big things. You got big plans ahead, and we gonna be watching, bro.
My bad.
All right.
Hey, nah, bro, love, bro, appreciate it.
All right, bro. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for y'all tuning in, man.
Hey, man, we gone, man.
Y'all always lock in. We got some new heat coming for y'all, man. Make sure y'all stay tuned for the next one.
Like, comment,
And subscribe.
and if you don't,
Coming to your mother house.
And hit that notification.
Hit the button. Hit the button.
All right, X.